Dear friends. This is our 27th online meeting for the foundation. Our meetings are normally on a medical subject when a doctor presents an interesting topic to our members. Sometimes we request an organization that we would like to support to tell our members about the work they do. So today we have Mr. Natarajan, a trustee of Bala Mandir Kamaraj Trust, to tell us about Bala Mandir. Our members know how difficult it is to donate money for a charitable cause. It is often difficult to find the right organization to support. There are hundreds of organizations asking money in the name of charity. Not all of them use the money for the purpose it is given. So it is always good to check out the group or organization before you hand over the money to them. One of the objectives of our foundation, which is funded by membership fee and donations from our graduates, is to undertake outreach charitable activity. Last year, one of our members suggested that we should consider supporting Bala Mandir Kamaraj Trust. When we checked it out, we were so impressed with the work they do that some of our members suggested that we request someone from the organization to give a presentation about the work they do. Mr. Natarajan, who is a trustee and honorary treasurer of Bala Mandir, has come forward to tell us all about Bala Mandir. I'm very grateful to Ms. Sangeeta, who took us around Bala Mandir to show the place and also introduced us to Mr. Natarajan. Mr. Natarajan, who has a mechanical engineering background, graduated from IIT. He had worked for over 30 years in the corporate sector and had served as managing director of the companies he had worked in for over 20 years. We are informed that since joining Bala Mandir as a trustee, he had transformed the organization, strengthening its systems and processes, improving all its activities. He is highly regarded by the people who know him and consider him an asset to the trust. Without wasting any more time, let me ask Mr. Natarajan to introduce himself and tell us about the trust.
So good evening. Thank you for this opportunity. Can you see my presentation screen?
Yes, we can. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. I was introduced, I've been associated with Bala Mandir for almost 11 years now, but I retired from active corporate life only by end of 19. So even though I was working towards the end of my, my work was outside Chennai, and I used to come back. I had settled down in Chennai, so I used to come back for weekends. So for the last 11 years, I've been more weekend, but only the last 3 years has been more full-time in Bala Mandir. And I will try and take you through this. It was a very interesting discussion to start with. And in fact, it resonates very well because Bala Mandir really, it started in 1949. So we just now talked about, post-independence. So we are probably a small baby when, this was actually formed just after independence. So this year is going to be our 75th year. In March 24 will be the 75th year. It was started by Mr. Kamaraj and Manju Bashni. Kamaraj, of course, everybody knows. Though he is associated, it's not a political organization in any way. He was a different personality, a different kind of a standard. He used to park his vehicle outside and walk into Bala Mandir. So Bala Mandir is really a very independent organization. Ms. Manju Bashni was with him in the prison. So she was in the prison with him. So there were 2 children. There was a Congress session. 2 children were found at the end of the Congress session. And then he handed over these children to them and asked her to start something because prior to that, it was not a very well organized, for the children. So we are one of the premier institutes, our social organization, support orphans, destitute children, and also children with special need. There are many organizations like ours, but what makes us different is an impeccable track record of the last 75 years. a focus on early childhood. We really are, if you come to Bala Mandir, you'll actually below 1 year, there are almost 24 children below 1 year. So it's not many organizations would have below 1 year. So I mean, all of you are aware of the kind of challenges you have. And when these children come, they have medical issues, many other issues, because all of them have been in some way kind of abandoned. They've gone through trauma. We're known for our highly ethical and professional approach. We are not associated with any organization in terms of any business family, neither any religious bodies or political or any of the other organizations. So it's, Manju Bhashini's children are not associated with the organization anymore. It's a third or fourth generation, but each one of them have been independently coming. So it's one of the very important things is inclusion and a holistic development of the children. Even though we are called a trust, we are really a registered society under the Registered Society Act, and we are fully compliant with all the regulations. Many people who pass by Tinagar will not even know that there is an organization like that, because you will not get phone calls asking for money. I mean, you will not get typically what happens with other things. You will not get that kind of a thing. We are a very, in a way, kind of an inward looking. And in the past, we used to kind of doubt any external influence. 11 years back, some of the changes made was actually having our first website. So it's not though we have been a very old organization, we have been trying to reach out and become different only in the last few years. Everything is driven by this vision statement, which is, it endorses it's all about the rights of the children. And all the children need loving care, good upbringing, especially the children from difficult circumstances. So we have 5 activities. The way it's organized is, the first activity is children's home. I will talk a little bit more about it. The second one is schools. These are like verticals. It's like 5 NGOs put together. Third one is a special needs children. And a fourth one is a Bala Mandir research and outreach program. And a fifth one is a new one, which is called kinship care. Now, the first one is a typical home for children. These are children who have either been surrendered or orphaned, and they don't have any support system. So they are given to us. So they are given on adoption. So we have an active adoption center. And some of the destitute children who cannot be given for adoption for whatever reason, they grow up here. We have 2 homes, one in Chennai, another is in Nagarkoil. There are about nearly about 220 children across the 2 units. These children, this is our core part of our activity, which was started in 1949. So as the children grew up, the schools got started. And our goal is here to provide the quality education for the socioeconomically deprived children in the community around us. Our children also go to the same school. We have a school running from KG to higher secondary. We also run a daycare center or a creche, and about 500 needy children are being supported in this. The third one is special needs children, which got added when the Madurai Nanan Center, which was an independent unit, got merged with this. These are children with intellectual disabilities, typically children who have either a Down syndrome or a cerebral palsy or autism or a ADHD and things of that sort, or multiple disabilities. This is the important thing here is to also help the families, and it's an early intervention center wherein we help the families cope up with these challenges which are posed by having such children, and then also give some therapy for these children. And in all these cases, whether it's a home or whether it is a Madurai Nanan Center or the school, there are doctors attached, because doctors are a important part of their uptake also. And there are doctors who are also volunteers as a part of this activity. There is a outreach program, which is a Bala Mandir research, wherein, over a period of time, we have done a lot of work on parenting and early childhood care. And later on, I will talk a little bit more about these activities. But here we share our best practices. And the latest one is kinship care, where after the COVID, we found that there were a lot of COVID orphans who are from the socioeconomically weak section. So currently we are supporting 650 children who have been orphaned due to COVID. And we will talk about all these things in the next one. So what is common across all these units and what makes us unique? So we have, like all other organizations, we have defined what is not negotiable, which is our values. So we have a set of 9 values which we say are not negotiable. We keep referring to them. We keep ensuring that these are followed by everybody. These are the normal things which most organizations do. But like all other good organizations, we have documented each one of them. We do a lot of dipstick studies to make sure that everybody is following that. And we are very serious about it, starting with child centricity. Some of the things are like a typical NGO, but some are like a corporate. For example, a professional approach or continual improvement and striving for excellence is typically what corporates have got, while inclusion, child centricity, and stuff like that are more of NGO. And there are some common approaches like equality, teamwork, environment, secular outlook, which is important for us because all of our activities will follow this, and this is not negotiable. All of our activities are focused on the childcare. We may support the families, but the families are not the most important part. In the process, when you have a child being supported, we have to make sure that the child has the right ecosystem, so the family does get supported. We used to be involved with vocational training. Now we are no longer involved because we are concentrating on 18 and below. We prepare children for vocational training, but we don't actually get involved with the vocational training. Our activities are largely in Tamil Nadu. In fact, other than sharing practices with other organizations outside Tamil Nadu, all our actual activities happen only in Tamil Nadu. And the goal is to maximize the social impact. We do network a lot with other institutions. We work closely with the government. Over the years, most of the policies which have evolved in this area we have helped shape them. We help work with the government. We also share and learn a lot of best practices. We participate, we conduct seminars, international seminars, and so on. And we try to reach out to a lot of people with our messages. So it's like any other organization which is 75-year-old. There's a lot of history, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that because I want to tell you about what is happening in the organization. But it's a very interesting history of how, as things have evolved, why did the Nagarkoil unit came up? Because there were a lot of infanticide in those days in Nagarkoil. So children were coming. Every one of them, a lot of history is involved. Why did we start a creche or a daycare center? Again, there is a history to all that. In the recent last 5 years, also there has been the process of our change and evolution continues. We have in the Madurai Narayanan Center for Special Needs Children, we have added a program for the older children, which we call as the GVCOM, which is beyond 6 years. Earlier, it used to be only an early intervention center. Our research and early childhood thing, we have got an Anganwadi outreach. The school is undergoing major re-engineering, and also the kinship care program, which is an important part of the thing. As you can see, in the past, we used to have some vocational training, many other things which we have dropped over the period of time. What you see here is Vinayaka Clinic, for example. In the early days, we used to have a small clinic, run a hospital, till we decided, we will take help. And we do have doctors visiting us, but we don't have we have a block called hospital block, but it's not a hospital at all. Over the years, a lot of history, as I said, and these are some of the key milestones. Started in 49. Till his death, Mr. Kamaraj was a very active member. He was the president, and once he died, it was called only Bala Mandir. And once he died, he added the name Kamaraj. So Bala Mandir Kamaraj Trust, though it's called a trust right from day one, it's a society, and it remains a society. So, and I mentioned to you about the MNC, Madurai Narayanan Center integration, and the kinship in the last few years. These are the board of trustees. I will explain to you how we are structured. So these 7 members, out of which 3 of them are Mr. Kumar is our president, Maya Gaitonde is the Honorary General Secretary, and I am the Honorary Treasurer. So apart from the 3 of us, there is Manoj Suntalia, who's the Chairman and Managing Director of Indian Express, Sriram Panchu, who's a Senior Advocate Mediator, and he is with with the, even Supreme Court of India and the other mediation centers. Girija Vaidyanathan, who was the former Chief Secretary of Tamil Nadu government. And recently we have had Ramesh Mangleshwaran, who is the senior partner emeritus of McKinsey and Company. He just retired from McKinsey and has joined us of just less than a month back. So this is the board of trustees. How they operate is, the way it happens is the trustees don't get involved in day-to-day work. The trustees are there only for guidance and advice and so on and so forth. But the work is all, because they are a society, all the work happens with the executive committee, and the Honorary General Secretary is the one heading that. So execution is largely with the executive committee. Now within that, because we have grown so much, there's a subcommittee. So each of these 5 activities will have subcommittees, and the subcommittees will have each member. There is a member, when we say they are volunteers, they will take direction and give help in running these activities. Below that, all of them are employees. The directors and the operating team are all generally paid employees. They are all units. They are all day-to-day management people who take care. They are also leaders, but they are typically work under a member in charge who gives the direction. Member in charge are people who are kind of volunteers, who have generally the older people who have retired and want to give back to the society and want to get involved. They are the kinds of people who work on that. We are fully compliant on all the rules and regulations, including CSR. We are a charitable institution for FCRI approved, ATG, professional tax, all that stuff. Okay. Little bit more on the activities. I'll just to give you, as I said, the children's program is where the children grow up. The focus is on very young children. They are given for adoption. Some of them grow up and they can get married. Some of them will go to other institutions to finish their graduation and other things. I mean, the usual things happen as they grow up, study, fun, competitions, art and craft, festivals, culture. So it's like upbringing a child, everything that happens there. And these are institutional children who don't have, many of them, because of our admission policy in this is below 6 years. There are many homes or hostels where you would have people joining after 6 years and then the parents coming for weekends. In our case, very few, most of the children don't have any parents. So because the admission policy is below 6 years. And so the children stay with us. There are some children with where there is a guardian and they go home for summer vacation, but that's a minority actually. The second thing is our education unit. Again, it's a typical Samachir Kalvi. It was largely a Tamil medium in the past, which was government aided. We are now moving away to more English medium, which is self-financed. We do have corporate support. I'll talk about the support. And we have, we give our the morning breakfast, lunch as part of the thing, because we serve the really, the near urban slums and many of the children. This is an important part of it. Our high school has got the government midday meal, but in our primary school, because it's not funded by the government, we provide meals to them. We have an inclusion program. Children with difficulty in learning, they are provided therapy. There is a shadow teacher who sits in the thing and helps these children overcome the difficulties what they are facing. So this is an important part of our activities, the inclusion and the therapy which we provide to the children so that they are able to cope up. We do that only in the primary school, and the high school we are more pushing them towards vocational training and other things, the children who have special needs. We have smart boards. We are now, at the end of this year, we'll be installing that in all the classes. Currently, it is there in few classes. Of course, celebrations, health camp, regular health checkups are there. Sports, we do focus a lot on holistic. It's not so much on academic performance as on holistic education, because again, a lot of thing happens in terms of science lab, a lot of things on STEM education and innovation lab and so on and so forth. So we have a 3D printer, a whole lot of computer lab. So we are trying to give them exposure. You won't have toppers coming out of our school, but you would have, we are trying to see that these children continue and do something meaningful as they go, because the motivation to do well is still a challenge for us. And the pandemic played a huge havoc because the children were not given the right inputs. They were all at home. And we lost more than 1 year. Though the pandemic was for a year or a year and a half in terms of the school closure, but the effect of that has been very adverse on all the children. And there's this huge amount of discipline issues. It has taken more than a year to come back to some sort of a normalcy in the school. The third thing, Madurai Narayanan Center, again, we have one of the best facilities here for all kinds of audiometry or speech therapy or other things. Here it's all special education, physical therapy. And most importantly, we have a scheme called Upanayan, which has been recognized by the government of Tamil Nadu. So we help train all the early intervention centers in Tamil Nadu. They come to our center to get trained. So there is an outreach indirectly. We help the government early intervention center with the knowledge. They come and see what we are doing and learn from that. Every year there is a refresher course that happens. Apart from that, we have a software called Upanita, which tracks every child and how the child is progressing in this. We have international seminars or conferences, national conferences, which we do for these children. And that's a kind of an ongoing activity, which goes on till the children are about 6 years old. And after that, only a limited children go through to the GVCOM program, which is started only recently, where we are trying to prepare our children for pre-vocational skills. This is the research lab thing. Now, we used to do largely sharing of information in the past, but then some of the data which we have seen, I mean, India, even though it's within the developing countries, also some of the statistics about our below 5 years stunting and wasting has been very shocking. It's lower than others. There is a definite need for early intervention and childhood development for improving the situation. So we have started now, and government is running a lot of Anganwadis. The ICDS is the Integrated Child Development Scheme of Government of India, and which is being, but they are under-resourced and they need technical help, and a lot of qualitative improvements is possible. So Bala Mandir is looking at this whole thing, not just from a local perspective. Of course, we do run all these programs, but we are also from a national perspective trying to share our best practices in this area. The last one is our kinship care. I wanted to spend a little time on this because it started only in 2021. We all know the Delta wave and the large number of deaths which happened in India. And now this program is started because we were called by the government and said that a lot of orphans are there. Be prepared for a big number of children who are going to join you in the home. But actually nobody came because our typical, we have a good support system. The families took care of all those orphan children. And, but what we did was we said that, okay, let's go and find out what is happening. And then we found a lot of problems. And then we said that why this program we started is because we know that orphan children, we have been dealing with them for a long time. They are vulnerable. They lag in academics and have a very low self-esteem. Sudden adverse change in the family status is causing a lot of emotional stress because the 90% of the cases, the husband has passed away. The wife is not having any skills. She's never worked outside. Even if she's educated, she's never taken up a job. 2 or 3 children, sometimes the family support is not there. So there were a lot of emotional stress, lot of difficulties which these children were facing and the families were facing. And unfortunately, despite all the talk, at the ground level, there was no government support. What the government was giving is, they were giving 3 lakh rupees, putting it in the bank and said that you can take it after when the child becomes 18 years old. Now, what happens till that time? And many of them were really in bad shape on that. So the government support, and particularly for not full orphans, but the semi-orphans, which means that most of the 90% of the cases where the mother is alone, there is no social program which we could see. So there was a need for a new program, and we called this a kinship care program. So I'm sorry, something went wrong. Okay. We called this a kinship care program, wherein the social worker, we appointed a lot of social workers. All this whole program has evolved. We started with some 50 children. Today it's about 650 children. It's growing very fast. So this is, we get a list from the DCPO. DCPO is the District Child Protection Officer, who gives us the list because he has got the list because of the fact that he got, he's giving that 3 lakh rupees in the bank, so he's got this list. So because of our strong involvement with the government, we could get hold of that list. We decided we will focus on below 12 children, because above 12 children, there were other complexities. There were adolescence issues. There were many other, they are also needy, but we said we have to choose somewhere and start working. And our expertise was in younger age. We wanted to build a stronger age so that they kind of continue and thrive. And so we took below 12 years and in a needy situation in terms of economic situation. And we started supporting these children in a number of ways. I will talk about that. So the social worker goes around, tracks the progress of these children, plans initiatives, and deals with the family issues. It's almost as an additional family member supporting these children. There is a central team which is there. We have a custom-built software which was devised in the last 1 year. It tracks every single child, what the needs are, what are we doing with that child, what are the marks, what do we do, etc. Then we provide money and also various tools. And I'll talk about the tools. And we are trying to, develop each of these districts as a separate district, and various, best practices which we are across district, which we are allowing the social workers to innovate and, learn from each other. So we are now in 9 districts in Tamil Nadu, all in northern Tamil Nadu. We have not, everything is Krishnagiri. Then, we are into Ranipet, Vellore, then Chennai, Chengalpet, Kanjipuram, Tiruvannamalai, Tiruvallur, of course. So it's largely in these districts. If we get our act right on this, then we want to move much faster, because there is a need is very strong in this. And we seem to have hit upon something good. The support what we are giving is, one is, of course, we are giving some support for the fees, paying the fees. We restrict it to only 15,000 rupees per child. So that itself puts a thing that we are not supporting. This is not just giving money for the children. We have got online volunteers. So we set up an organization where there are volunteers from all over the world, but largely from India. We need to be Tamil-speaking volunteers, because you need to talk to some extent with the families in Tamil, but not necessarily that 100% Tamil, even if a working knowledge of Tamil is enough. But the volunteer is given a PDF book. The child is given a hard copy of the book, and then you help the child in reading. Then the child could have some maths problem or some science issues, and then you help the child. You are like a mentor, but you have a, weekly, twice you call the child. Child is expecting the call, and then it's just an ordinary phone call or WhatsApp call if you are from outside of India. So that's working. And so we have got something like 250 children, 250 volunteers across who are supporting these children on a one-to-one basis. We are also arranging for counseling for mothers. The mothers have suddenly thrown into this big challenge. I mean, recently we had some camp in Tiruvallur. There was a mother who stood up and said, for most women, 24 years is where their life starts, because they get married and then get settled. Things start. For me, at 24, the life is over, because I've had 3 children and my husband has passed away, and I don't know what is going to happen next. So there are many cases like that where there is and we had to, give her all the support and tell her, these are 3 beautiful children you got, your whole life is in front of you and how you can live. And of course, we need to constantly support these mothers and provide the thing. We are providing tabs so that the children could do their own learning, because the problem of this is they are all far away from each other. They are not close to each other. Each place, sometimes most of the days, our social worker will travel something like 30-40 kilometers in a motorcycle. So you have to go around the place and talk to them and help them. Of course, the online tools are a big use. Telephone has become so good that we are able to contact people very well. All those technology improvements have helped us a lot. Tracking becomes so much easier with the technology what we have got, and the software is helping us track. There are children who have got special needs in terms of, and then we are supporting them with special needs. Some of them, we have to get them a disability certificate so that they can start getting scholarship from the government. Some of them are very young, and we try to get them admission through a right to education scheme. So there are many things which we do. There are mothers who are saying, my earning is not enough. We get them a sewing machine so that in the evening they can do some little bit of stitching and earn something extra. There are mothers who have got a grinder so that they can make the maavu and give to the batter and sell it around their house and make some money and take care of the family. So because these mothers have not worked before, so many things are happening. We have also realized recently that there is a need for camps so that these community can help each other. Visits, which we take them to Vandalur Zoo to show them the zoo, and the children have not been taken out because the father passed away and suddenly everything is kind of in bad shape. So we are now saying, no, it doesn't have to be that way. You can still go and visit. The mother can still take you out, and still there can be a bonding and so on and so forth. Our goal is to continue this support till the children become about 20 years old. Now, we don't know where we are going to fund these things. I mean, but we have seen in Bala Mandir that whenever we have got programs like this, I mean, we get support. We have never been short of funds. So we think we are going to expand and continue to expand. By the end of this year, we will hopefully be something like 800 to 900 children probably, and go to a few more districts, maybe to 12 or 14 districts. And so this is one high impact project, which can be a very visible project, which a lot of possibilities are there. I will talk about where all you can participate and what you can do. So these are our 4-5 activities, and I spent a little extra on the kinship because it's new. How are we funded? Government is definitely a big support for us. There are the children's program, which is our home. There is a government support for almost everything. Almost every position, there is a government supports us. They may not be supporting us 100%, but it's more than 90% they support us. And there is a Tamil medium school which is supported by the government teachers. Maduram Narayan Center, some of the government support is there. We do get government grant, but government grant is something like 20% of our entire expenditure. We have a lot of because one of the advantages of a 75-year-old organization is we've got friends and well-wishers who've been there for generations. Some of you might even be coming to Bala Mandir to do feeding or something like that, your birthday. There are people who know that they come to Bala Mandir on their birthday just to give a food. On that day, they would have sponsored the food for their, or whatever the Remembrance Day. So the food sponsorship is a very normal thing. We also have individual child sponsorship, education, meal sponsorship, special events, capex. So some of this are happening in this way, and this is where we can think that an organization like you, some of them could also be looking at that. We do have CSR partners. We can't be running this we don't have a big corpus. We are running on virtually every year we get money and we spend the money. So Saint-Gobain is one of them. Michelin is the other one. We work in, the Anganwadis near Michelin Tire Factory. Boeing is a new one. It started this year, not yet. The money has started, but the first commitment is there from them. UI is United India is one of the, Tamil, Chennai-based organization. Orient Black Swan, Fagun. L&T was an old support, but now the emphasis is one of the newer ones. So some of these organizations are supporting us. Where we can still be, we still need funds and we still need help. One is this kinship program. Now, the kinship program is a new and fast-growing program. It doesn't have an established donor base. So most of like school has got a donor base. Everything has got its own donor base. This is a new program. Okay. So this is meeting an important social needs. The cost of supporting a child is about 20,000 rupees. And there are about 600 children to be supported. So this is one project. The donor can also look at specific sub-projects like a livelihood support, because there was one particular lady whose mother was very good in stitching. So they wanted to give sewing machine. So it's things like that. So you can always look at, supporting in a particular thing, the women in that, or field trips can be sponsored. There could also be sponsors. All the sponsors get a full report. I mean, it's needless to go that all our sponsors get a full report on the utilization. The sponsors get a profile. Incidentally, you were one of the sponsors. Thank you for the 1 lakh rupees you people gave us. We used the money for buying vaccination, chickenpox vaccination. And I think we gave you a report on how you utilized it and what we did. Similar reports you would get in any of the activities which you do, because that's something which we do on because we spend money on, and some of the CSR people may want an audited report, we can provide that. Some of the individuals will just want a report and we said, it's okay, we know the organization. The other program is our Anganwadi support. Now today the Anganwadi support is basically, there is a Bala Mandir team which adds value to the government-run Anganwadis, which don't have enough resources. So what we do is we train them up. We appoint a person who will go and take care of the children. See, the government Anganwadis provide food. They provide a place. So we don't need to invest in a place. We don't need to, the basic food, basic things. Sometimes it's not the best place in terms of upkeep. But instead of focusing on that, we focus on trying to train how to take care of the children, what kind of a games to play, how do we stimulate the children, how do we make sure that the child is, the below 5 year, which is a very critical age for the brain development. I mean, how do we take, especially the 1 to 2 years or 1 to 3 years, that's something which we help out in that. So here, what we have is we have people visiting the Anganwadis. About 20 to 25 children come to every Anganwadi every day. And it costs us about 2 lakh rupees per annum to support one Anganwadi. So we look at about 20 to 30 Anganwadis. So we are looking at how do we go to these Anganwadis and support these Anganwadis. I'm just giving you a macro level picture. We can talk about other specific things. There is a Bala Mandir school and education where there are, these are again needy, urban. We don't charge any fees. There is a small fees which we charge, which doesn't even take care of the breakfast. But we kind of a 2,000 rupees or 3,000 rupees per annum. So we are kind of we are depending on the donors, and there is always some shortfall in this. And there are infrastructure projects which we can work on this. The last one is Maduram Nandan Center for Special Needs Children, where again there are projects, which there are specific projects about 20-25 lakhs each, which we can look at it. There are also smaller ones which we can say that there's a birthday celebration for a child and stuff like that, because these are all from the needy section. There can be specific things. There's a food festival that happens because nutrition becomes an important part of these kind of special needs children. So that is one. The other thing which I wanted to talk about before this is my last slide and I want to finish with that, is about volunteers. It's not just many of you are, some of you are based in Chennai and some of you are based in other places. But we do, people like me, I am a volunteer. So unless we have enough volunteers, organizations like this will not be able to progress. So one very obvious thing is our kinship care program, where this reading to the children, we call it a happy reading initiative, where there are books are developed. So there is what we have done is we have created an independent, like a small setup with friends of ours who are helping in this. So if any one of you want to, or your family members or your relations or anybody else, want to read to children, it's 2 days in a week, 1 hour each. These are simple books. They are all basic reading, third standard to fifth standard kind of reading. Interesting books from Pratham, which will be, which you will get, and you can kind of, the child will read and you can check whether the child is reading properly and help the child improve its English, engage them in English and so on and so forth. If they need some other help in terms of, let's say, foundational maths, or, when we are talking about that, it's simple fractions and simple division kind of a thing. That is something which can be said. From the remote, you can also be a friend or a one-to-one mentor. As these children grow up, we will definitely need more mentors because they will get into adolescence. Some of the 12-year-olds and 13-year-olds, they need to have some sort of mentors to make sure that, they have somebody to talk to who's not day-to-day involved in the thing, but it's something which we are in the process of developing. It's not a program as such, but you can help us develop these programs. Of course, you can also provide your professional support because all of your doctors and some of these children may need some help, and you can provide it from remote, or you can be counselors. Some of you may be special educators of some sort, and you could help it. But not all cases. We are not in this program. We don't provide any medical support, but there could be cases which may need that. Management of any specific area, you are always welcome because this is a program which will grow fast. Now, if you're saying that, I have someone in the Trichy area and, I can help you in that area, that would be great. So we want to move on this project because we think it's a high social impact. The early childhood program, again, here what we are looking for is advocacy and networking. We need to have more people talking about this early childhood. We want to bring in new ideas and strengthen this program. So this is something which, again, similarly in the schools, if there are people who are interested in teaching, then tuitions, mentoring, teaching special skills, like if you're good in dance or a drama or whatever, singing or whatever. So you could volunteer your time, come on a Sunday or come on other thing, or just spending time with children. These children in the home don't have the proper families, and the caregivers are not able to, we are not able to employ caregivers who are highly educated and who can challenge the children and, give them the stimulating atmosphere or a stimulating discussion. And this is something the children lack, and you can do that. Especially is a specialized area. Here again, we need special professional support. We can't talk about, it's not so much of a general skill here. And lastly, but not least, anybody willing to take responsibilities, taking charge, ownership for a specific area, and can become a member over time is most welcome. They can contact us, and we can kind of. It takes some time because for you also it will be a new area, and it takes some time to get used to it. But if you are interested in that, if we can work on this, the good part about Bala Mandir is a professional organization, and we are working, we are growing. Our spend is increasing at the rate of 20 to 30% every year. So we are not a passive kind of an organization where we just come and do routine things. We are constantly, at least in the last few years, we've been pushing hard for that. There are many areas in which you can take on your individual life. So you don't want to do management, but you want to do, let's say, some cultural activities, art activities, or you just want to take off administration, garden, sports, infrastructure, accounts, systems, donation sponsorship, medical, any of these, there is a need or help which we can always do in any of these areas. Okay. So thank you very much. And I will stop this presentation and we can probably take some questions and